Hey, what is up, everybody? It is the weekend again, and we are back in the shop. We got a lot to do today, so let me show you what we got going on. On the docket for today, we got some wine bottles to engrave. We've got a decanter set we got to get going here, and we have a couple cutting boards I got to get started on the CNC and engraved. And over here on the other side of the shop, we've got a bunch of tumblers to do. We got, let's see, 6 40 ounces to take care of, and we got 2 30 ounces and 1 stemless wine glass. Okay, so as you can see, we got a lot of work to do. So if you're interested in joining me and seeing how I do things here in the shop, stick around. I'd love to have you. First thing we got to do is we got to get over to the CNC because I want to throw these boards on there while I'm engraving some of the glass. So let's go start with that. Okay, so now the CNC is running on the other side of the shop. It's got about 8 minutes or so left before that cutout happens on the cutting board. So I'm going to go over here to the UVs. I'm going to go to the Omni one and start setting up the decanter set. Okay, so got my bottle down and I've pressed framing on light burn, and it's going to be hard to see. You can barely see it. It's a blue framing laser, so it's kind of hard to see with the naked eye, but once I put this little paddle down, you'll really see where this is framing. So now I have my rectangle projected onto the bottle, and I've made that, or I've sized it to the size of the bottle. And by just positioning this by hand here, I'm able to line that up. And now I know that my bottle is square to the laser head. So I'm going to turn this tool layer off, and I'm going to project my logo next. So here's my logo, and I kind of want this on like the upper third of the bottle, and I can see right now that I'm not quite there. So all you got to do is press the up and down arrow or left and right to move this on light burn. So I just want to move it on light burn because I'm happy with where the bottle is and how square the bottle is to the laser. So I'm just going to press the down arrow a couple times to get this exactly where I want it. So the CNC just finished up, so that's good. But before I go and double check that, I want to run now a test on this bottle. This is the reason why I put the blue tape on here, because I'm going to run this at a very high speed and at a setting that I have created that will only mark on the tape, but it's not going to go through the tape. So I'm just going to put a mark on the tape. I'll be able to take a look at it without moving it. And as long as I'm happy with it, I can lock this down. I'll put some like a little square on it or something so it doesn't move again. Take the tape off and then run the actual job. So you can see that just took a couple seconds, and I like that a lot. I'm just kind of checking for the space between the edge of the bottle and the E, well, both the E's on both sides. And I can see that it's also straight. One thing I do with the tape is I will use the bottle as a guide. I'm running a straight piece here. I'm lining up the edge of the tape with the top of the bottle. That way I know that every one of these horizontal lines here where each piece of tape is pretty straight. So I'm looking at that luxury group here, and there's a faint line, and I'm making sure that that's aligned with my tape there, and that all looks really good. Okay, so I took the tape off, repositioned everything. I put tape on the back this time just because I don't want to scratch it when it's laying on the bed. If I was doing a bunch of these, I would set up a nice jig just so I can replace them easily, but I'm only doing one here, so did my tape trick, and I know I'm aligned and everything's going to look good. So I got my settings in here, my actual glass settings, and let's go ahead and get this thing started. This will just take a couple minutes, maybe like a minute and a half, if that. If you haven't used a UV laser before, definitely go check out my video on the Omni one here, where I went through a couple projects and mainly focused on glass. But you know, it's really I don't like to say game changer, but because it's kind of a overused word, but it really is a game changer. I can't think of anything else to say about it. If you're doing glass, you need to get a UV laser. Do whatever you can to work towards getting a UV laser, because you know, not only the speed at which it engraves stuff like this, it's just the quality. You'll see when I take this off and I clean it up, it just looks perfect. I mean, it's not creating microfractures in the glass like a CO2 laser will, so it gives that kind of chipped look. And don't get me wrong, you can do glass on a CO2. You can. People do it all the time, and I've seen people that do it really good. But just for ease of use and the quality you're going to get from that ease of use, I mean, UV lasers are the way to go. So check that out. You know, you can barely feel it too. You know, that's one of the differences between this and a CO2 is on a CO2, like I said, it's going to microfracture the glass, and you're going to feel it. It's going to chip off if you don't do it right. This just looks frosty. I'll go ahead and pick it up, see if we can get a better shot at it. It's always hard to shoot or to record glass, but that looks like a pretty good shot right there. Just look how good that looks. So we'll just get this cleaned and let's move on to the next part of the set. I mean, that took, I don't know, that's like a minute engrave. So you can really crank stuff like this out with the UV laser. Okay, so next up, we're going to use a little jig here, and we're going to do the 4 glasses. And these are going to be sitting on top of the jig here. We got a positive stop here and a sloped piece so that I can angle this right, because we want to make sure that this is in focus and perfectly level. Because if it's not level, it will not be in focus over the entire area of this glass. These cups are cool because they don't really need a rotary. They're rounded, but they have like a flat surface here where the tape's on. You can see the bottom, they're kind of square. They're not exactly square, but they're like pretty square. So with a small logo like this, you'll see how small this is. It's only about 1.5 inches wide or 1.25 inches wide. I can actually run this without the rotary. So we've got it set up here, and we've got our blue tape on again. Let's go ahead and run the test and see how we're doing. Okay, so that's pretty quick here. think I'm going to make it just a hair smaller, but alignment looks pretty good. Yeah, I think I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller. I think without the rotary, I'm going to lose the two E's on the end, I think, just with the curvature of the glass, because it's going to get out of focus. So I'm going to shrink this down just a little bit. I think that's going to be better, not only for this setup, but I think it also just fits on this glass better. You don't need to be too big on these logos. You know, I think this fits really nice. So let's go ahead and run the 4 glasses. All right, so just a few seconds. You can see how nice the UV laser really engraves the glass. Before I move it, I'm just inspecting it. Since this is the first one that I'm running, I just want to make sure that all the elements of the engraving have actually engraved, because one thing about the UV is that the focal distance is very, very tight. Just a couple millimeters of a difference, or a millimeter, can throw you out of focus. So with this lens anyway, with the 175 that comes on the ComMarker, so you got to be pretty tight with the with your focus measurements. But this looks really good. I can take that off. Yeah, very nice frosted engraving. All right, got a few more to do. All right, looks great. That's the last glass. So I'm just going to get these cleaned up and put them in the box. It's going to look kind of something like this. So these are a really great gift set to give out, and I found that they're pretty good sellers. I get these on from Johnson Plastic Plus is where I buy these sets from, and really nice quality. They come in a box. It's one of the few that I found that come in a box with like the foam padding and stuff in it. So I find it creates like just a better gift set, I think, because it's a complete package, you know. So yeah, UV, you know, if you want to do glass, it's the ticket, man. I mean, especially these square glasses without using the rotary. I always prefer using the rotary if I can. You know, obviously on rounded glasses you need to, but on these you can kind of get away with it. You just got to be careful of the focus. The focus can be a little tricky. If you're out of focus, just like a millimeter or so, I mean, it's not going to engrave certain letters or something if they start to fall off on that curved surface. So like these glasses, they are round in a way, but I mean the front face of them is pretty flat. It's not quite as flat as the bottom, but it's pretty flat. I mean, you got maybe like, I don't know, you've got like, let's see here, maybe a 2 millimeter variance, like from the middle of the glass to the edge where it starts dropping off. So you're getting pretty close with that focus on the UVs with this lens anyway. But it's doable. You know, you just got to size the logo properly and make sure that your cup is nice and level on your jig, and you'll be good to go. Okay, next up we've got wine bottles. This is a sample that I made for a customer, and I've got to do a bunch more. But this is done also on the UV. I do these on the Thunder because I have the rotary set up, and this is color filled, so it really makes it pop with a little bit of white. Just a little bit of white paint to make that pop. But I've got a bunch of other bottles that I took the label off of earlier, and now I got to run those. So I'm not going to show the whole process on this. I will probably make a whole other dedicated video if anyone is interested in that. But basically, they're going to go on the rotary. I have a little jig that I 3D printed that just kind of acts as a support for the bottle, since it's pretty heavy coming off the chuck. I have another part for the Rotoboss Talon coming in where it essentially does this same thing, but it's in a much nicer setup. It's a little support arm that goes here, so that's coming not till next week though. So in the meantime, I've been using this, and it works pretty good. But looking forward to having even a better setup to do these. So I'm going to get these thrown on and get these going. Okay, we have triple checked everything. Our bottle is on the rotary, it's supported, it's level, our focus is good, our layout is good. I did my tape test, my sample turned out perfect. You know, one tip I would give if you're doing this, or really anything like the decanter or whatever, all these items that are, you know, a little bit high dollar. I mean, this bottle of wine is about $60 that it cost me to go buy them. So the decanter set is like, I don't know, it's like $30 for that one. And if, you know, you ruin something like that, it stings a little bit, especially the wine bottle. So take your time, make sure you have everything set up correctly, double check, because one little screw up and I'm drinking a $60 bottle of wine tonight. So hoping not to do that. Even though I've done this a million times, sometimes you do make a little mistake like that. So I think we're good this time. I feel confident. Let's go ahead and get this thing run. Okay, we're live. I got my glasses on because I'm running this with the door open because of just the length of this whole setup. But so far, everything looks really good. Sometimes planning pays off. But this at our normal speed is going to take about 5 or 6 minutes here. And then while I'm swapping out those wine bottles, like I said, they take about 5 minutes each. So I will be running my cutting board. My second one, I got a circle cutting board coming up next. And then I'm going to be processing the first cutting board, cutting the tabs, sanding it, all that stuff. So stuff I'm not going to show, but I've got to get that thing finished as far as like cutting it out and cleaning it up, sanding it, finish sanding, water pop. Then I'll get it over on the Bolt Pro and get the name engraving done on it. And then also after that, oil it and we'll be all done. Got 7 all the way done. A couple more here, ready to be painted. A couple blanks there need to be taken care of. And we got our board all sanded, prepped, ready to go. So it's time to get this thing on the laser. Here's my design real quick, just a simple monogram. One thing I wanted to show you though is usually I'm working in absolute coordinates down here in Lightburn. That's almost always how I work. But for these, I like to use user origin and set it my job origin to the bottom left corner. So you see that little green square right there is telling you that that origin point is the bottom left. And I've set my machine origin here at this location. And I put my red dot pointer on this line, my glue line here, because I want to make sure that this logo really matches that line. It's not crooked or anything because it'll really be noticeable if it is. So what I did is I jogged my laser to the left here and I put it on that line, or just above it right now. And then I moved it all the way to the right just to make sure that I'm still in that same location. I'm parallel, and I am, so that looks good. And I've sent this file to the laser, and if it hit frame now, this is going to show me exactly where that's going to go. I'll do it one more time. I'll get the laser head out of the way, but I'm going to be writing right on this bottom line. I'm going to go to about here, and my monogram is going to be in this bottom right location. So in this type of situation, I really do like to use user origin. It's a good tip for me, or it's a good way that I found to do it anyway. So hopefully that helps you out. And I like the way this is turning out. I'm getting a nice dark engraving on this cutting board still, even on the maple. That's always nice to see. Again, I'm mostly doing that. I mean, the speed and power make a big difference, but I think defocusing just a little bit helps with that. So if you're looking to get darker engravings on lighter wood like this, then definitely try to defocus like anywhere between 1 and 3 millimeters. You just have to play with that to see what works best for you. But you can see how my alignment looks really good. I just slightly above that glue line, right where I had my origin set. Because again, you can notice now, like if I was off on that a little bit and my board was crooked, then it would really be noticeable. All right, the bottles are all finished up, looking awesome. Check these out. Totally cool. Really happy with how those came out. Last thing we got to do is go on over to the other side of the shop again. We are going to be working on the regular bolt here, and we're going to be doing a few tumblers. Let's see, I got 6, 7, 8, 9 to do. So 9 tumblers on the bolt. Should take about the next hour or so. Should be done. Got everything else finished. Decanter set's done. Bottle's obviously done. Board is oiling right now. Looking good. So one last thing. Let's get to it. Okay, so one tip on doing these Stanleys is that, you know, you have the handle on there, right? So I like to put the engraving on the left side of the handle. So if you're holding the cup, you're looking at the engraving like that. Okay, that's how I like to do it. I don't know if it's not the right way. It's just the way I always do it, and I've seen it. So everyone or no one's complained about it. So it's been going good. But anyway, you have to make sure that your logo is lined up like in this area. Without the handle on a cylinder, it's easy. You can put it anywhere and it's just going to rotate. And, you know, as long as there's no other marks that you need to line up, it'll, you know, look fine no matter how you do it. So that's, you know, a consideration when you're doing any type of cup with a handle on it. You know, make sure you count for that because it takes a little bit of time. So I put a mark. That's what this piece of blue tape is here. I put a mark in the middle between the handle and where the center of the logo is going to be. And, you know, and then I'll line up my origin on that so I can repeatedly place these in the bolt to engrave them. So keep that in mind if you're doing anything with a handle. So about 3.5 minutes for each one of these tumblers. And I got 6 to do. So roughly about 30 minutes. And there's what it looks like coming off the laser. But we still have a little bit of cleanup work to do. And then this is our final product with just a little bit of cleanup. I just use a little bit of Dawn Power Wash on a magic eraser. And everything comes off real nice. Next up, we just have one little stemless wine tumbler. Looks really good. The bolt just is so great for tumblers. All right, we get this cleaned up, and then the next thing I'm going to put in, and the last thing I'm going to put in is this 30-ounce tumbler. This is a new item for me. This is a gold and, well, it's a gold electro-coated tumbler with black painted outside and gold underneath. So I've never done this before, and I'm kind of going against most of the rules of, you know, buying an extra one and testing it before I, you know, start a production run. But I'm not really doing a production run here. I'm just doing one of these, and this is a sample. So if it turns out, I will give it to my client. If it doesn't turn out, this will be my new sample cup. So let's see how it goes. All right, let's send it. Just got the same settings I was using before on my regular black and the red for that matter. We'll see what happens. So far it looks pretty good. Oh yeah, this is looking really good. I can tell right now. I see gold. I think we're gonna be good. Yeah, let's get this thing out and clean it. What do you think? I think this came out perfect. Couldn't be more happy with this. This might be my new favorite tumbler combo here. All right, so that is it for today. It is about 7 o'clock. Time to be done for the day, I think. But the good thing is we got everything done. We got our wine bottles done. We got our tumblers done. We got our cutting board done. We got the decanter set done. So a lot going on today in just a few hours. I think we spent about, let's see, been in here for about 4.5 hours or so, just kind of farting around, you know, so not too bad. Pretty happy with that. If you learned something, hey, let me know. If you want to see more of something, let me know as well. You know, I've really been toying around my idea of doing a rotary video, and have actually got a couple new rotaries coming in because I finally bit the bullet. I'm just tired of switching back between the UV to the bolt to the ComMarker now. So I bit the bullet. I got 2 new rotaries coming. I got another Rotoboss Talon, and I decided to try the Lens Digital Pyburn grip for the Galvo laser, for the ComMarker. So excited to actually have those in. But anyway, you know, if anyone's looking to see how to set up a rotary or to run these cups, I mean, let me know. The other thing is those bottles. If anyone wants to see like a full video on those wine bottles, let me know as well. I'd be happy to do that. I mean, I pretty much showed everything. I mean, I pretty much showed everything. There's not much to it, but I can go into a little bit more detail on, you know, settings and the setup and all that kind of stuff too. So please let me know because I'll be happy to do it. Other than that, thanks a lot for watching. Again, leave me a comment if you have any questions on anything or if you have any suggestions on anything. I would love to hear it. And until then, have a great work week out there. Keep going, keep working, and I'll see you next time.